Okay, this is how to tackle A10 number 12 on the homework. This is the one where you have four tests and you've got one more test left to go, and you basically want to calculate what your average is going to be. The first part is saying you want to still be able to earn a C, so you need to be in between a grade of 70 and 80% for your average. So to solve for part A, let's first set up the equation of an average. Um, if you don't remember what that is, that's fine. I can remind you. An average, or sometimes called a mean or an arithmetic mean, say average, mean. The way that you calculate it is you need to add up everything that you have. So in this case, I want to add up all of my test scores. So I'm going to have 77 plus 72 plus 78 plus 81. And I also have another test. So I don't know what that test is yet. I'm going to leave it as X. Real quick, I'm going to enter this down so that way the text looks larger. So I have a total of 5 tests. I've added them all up, and now I need to divide by 5 because that's how many tests I have. And now my average, which is this thing right here, it says it needs to be in between 70 and 80. So on the lower end, I want it to be a 70, and then on the upper end, I want it to be an 80. Actually, it says specifically a less than an 80, because I think 80 tips it over into B, so I should not include the value 80. It needs to be a strict less than symbol. So this is essentially my equation that I have to solve for X. So there's some of this that we can calculate already. First off, let's go ahead and add these numbers over here. And if I do a quick check to throw this in my calculator, this comes out to 308. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this and replace it by 308. Okay, and then the next thing I want to do is to start getting X by itself, I need to get rid of that 5 that I have in the denominator. So to get rid of the 5, I need to multiply all of the pieces by 5. And I need to do that on both sides. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to everything else. So both the left and the right. And when I do that, at least for the middle, the divide by 5 and the multiply by 5 cancel each other out, and it just leaves me with 308 plus X. On the right over here, I can do 8 times 5 and get 40. So this is going to end up being 400. Over here, this is going to end up being 350 when I just compute the 70 times 5. And now what I want to do is get rid of 308 from everything. So I'm going to do minus 308 to both sides. 308. And like I said, in order for this to be fair, I have to do it to everything. When I do that to the piece in the middle, 308 minus 308 cancels out to leave me with just X. And now all I have to do is actually subtract these. So it looks like this is going to end up being 42. And then over here, this is going to end up being, what is that, 92? I believe so. Yeah, plus 92 would bring this to 400. Yeah. So it looks like if you want to have a C in the class, you need to score a 42 or higher. But if you're scoring a 92 or higher, that pushes you into the B category. So what this kind of tells you is this last grade, or your grade's kind of doomed. You know, most people are going to score somewhere in between that on the last test, and you'd have to pull off something pretty amazing to get higher than a 92 on the final, right? Okay, for part B, let's take a look at this. It says, what score do you need if the 5th test counts as 2 tests? So essentially, I'm going to go back over here to my original setup. But instead of having plus just regular X, this is weighted double. So it's going to be, you could think about it as plus X again. Basically, you're saying you're taking the test and that score counts twice. So it's like having 2 of them on the top. But I'm going to simplify that by just saying it's plus 2X, because X plus X would be just 2X. But now, instead of having 5 tests, you technically kind of have 6. Because you've got the 4 tests that you took before, but then this one is weighted double, so that's kind of like having 6 tests. So pretty similar deal to before. I'm going to solve the exact same way that I did. I'm going to go ahead and add these together, but they didn't change, so this is still 308. Next up, I'm going to want to multiply everything by 6. So this is going to end up being 420. And this is going to end up being 480. And I don't need my divide by 6 anymore. Now, finally, I would have to do subtract 308 from every side. And when I do that, it disappears from the middle. And now I would be left with, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and throw this into a calculator just to make sure I don't mess it up. This would be 112. And on the other end, I'm going to have 172. Oops. And now finally, I need to divide everything by 2. So when I do that, this turns into 66. And I can't do that one in my head. 86. So essentially what this means is go big or go home, right? So your margin for error is a lot slimmer, where your margin for success is a lot better though, right? So it's basically saying you can achieve a lower score on the final, and because it's worth more, it's going to actually reduce the amount of points you need to bump yourself into the next category. However, if you bomb it, that's going to really destroy your grade, and it's going to be easier for you to slip down into a D or F territory if you do worse on the test. So it's got some ups and downs. The weighing the final double means that it's easier for you to boost your grade, but it's also easier for you to make it destroyed, right? Whereas for a single weighted test, it's harder for you to change your grade once you've locked in a few test scores, but at the very least, it's going to be harder for you to like truly nuke your grade on the final. But yeah, this is how you would solve this word problem, setting up a compound inequality and then solving it for x.